One of the main problems with eating a lot of sugar and indeed refined processed carbohydrates that break down into sugar in your body quickly is glycation. And what that is, it's just sugar binds to fats and protein and produce these advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. You might have heard of them. Anyway, they're very bad news, because they cause oxidative stress and inflammation in your body. Now, under normal circumstances, your body can deal with them, right? Through antioxidants and enzyme activity. But with the current level of sugar and processed carbohydrates that most of us eat, your body gets overwhelmed. And these AGEs, they build up in your body. And just kind of overwhelm your body. And that is what causes a lot of problems. So AGEs cause inflammation, and inflammation connected to all your normal degenerative diseases, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, premature aging, and so on. And basically, inflammation over long periods of time will damage every single organ in your body, including your brain. And it's the brain that I particularly am concerned about, and why I'm doing this whole challenge. But in addition, AGEs cause premature aging of your skin. And we don't want that either, right? So what happens is that the sugar binds to the amino acids in your skin, the collagen, and that then produces these AGEs, which damages your skin cells, causes sagging, wrinkles, age spots, discoloration, just premature aging due to sugar. So I then wanted to check energy drinks and see how much sugar is in them. We have quite a lot of them on the market now in Zambia. So the first one I looked at was Commando. Now this is 500 mils, so it's quite a big bottle. But if you drink this whole thing, you're getting 58 grams of sugar, right? So that translates into 14 and a half teaspoons of sugar when you drink this. They've also added caffeine. It's about 1.5 cups of coffee worth, taurine, and some B vitamins in there. But the fact that they're calling it an energy drink, yeah, you're gonna get energy, a spike, but then you're gonna come crashing all the way down and feel like absolute shit. Maybe you get headaches as well. I would never touch this stuff, yet they're so popular. Watch out, guys. This is all marketing, okay? You do not want to put that amount of sugar in your body. It has consequences. All right, so 14.5 teaspoons of sugar in that one. Another popular one here in Zambia is Kung Fu. So Kung Fu, we have 12.5 teaspoons of sugar if you drink this 500 ml bottle. Of course, we have this one. I'm sure you all recognize it. So this is a much smaller bottle. The others that I looked at were 500 mils. This is half, 250 mils. In terms of per 100 mils, if we're comparing like with like, it's in line with the others, but because it's a smaller container, if you drink this, you're getting just under 7 teaspoons of sugar, which is still a lot. Watch out with these energy drinks, guys. I'm just about to dig into my breakfast, and I'm so excited because I have found gluten-free bread. So I thought I'd show you. There is my yummy breakfast. So it's gluten-free bread at the bottom there with some smashed avocado and 2 eggs. Yum, yum, yum. The only problem with this gluten-free bread is that I'm essentially using it like dessert. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it's dessert. So I'll have my evening meal and feel really satisfied and full. And then maybe an hour later, I'm like, ooh, it would be nice with something. And I'll literally take gluten-free bread and put a lot of butter on there. And it acts like a dessert for me now. Obviously not sweet at all, so I must have come some way along the way, you know? So it is day 26, only 4 more days to go now. And I've had a brilliant week. I'm feeling good. And once again, the main thing is the clarity of mind, and that is so wonderful. I've been super effective this week in terms of my work. I've gotten so much work done. I've been able to focus and concentrate on the tasks that I've set for myself. I feel good about that, you know? And another thing I've noticed, I'm not sure quite how to articulate it, but I'm like more strong-willed and willing to do things that I normally would kind of avoid, shy away from. So one example is, I don't like confrontation. I hate confrontation. And I'm sometimes not very good either at speaking up. I'd rather just leave it, let them do what they're doing kind of thing. But I've noticed that I've started, and I don't know if it's connected to the sugar and everything I'm doing, but I think it might be just because my brain is so clear and focused, and it's like my will is stronger. So I am speaking up more for myself, and that's wonderful. And I'm, instead of kind of procrastinating and letting things that I don't want to deal with just go, I'm actually dealing with them. So, if I get a message and I'm like, oh gosh, they're asking me for something, I have to say no, and I'm going to disappoint them. And sometimes, in the past, I would just let it be for a while, just leave it for a while, so I don't have to deal with it right now. But what I'm doing now is I'm dealing with it immediately, and it feels so good. And I'm super, super chuffed with that. I wanted to also have a look at some of the foods that we're giving our babies. So I went to that section in the supermarket and I picked up a couple of products. This was one of them. So this is 100% fruit puree, banana and prune. And when you look at this, you're thinking, well, this doesn't have added sugar. This is good for my baby, right? But the thing is, you gotta remember, for this to survive on that supermarket shelf and in your cupboard for months on end, it is processed, it is heat treated. And once again, the majority of the goodness that was originally in these fruits, it's all gone. You're not going to get the vitamins, the minerals, the phytonutrients, the antioxidants that were once in these plants, okay, in this fruit. So let's have a look at the amount of sugar. So the amount of sugar here, I wrote it down. In this serving, 17 grams of sugar. That is equivalent to 4.5 teaspoons of sugar that you've just given your baby. Here is another product that is intended for our babies. And in this product, we have 27 grams of sugar per 100 grams. So almost 30% of this is sugar. And here we're talking added sugar here, because if you look at the ingredients, they've tried to make it sound a bit better, a bit healthier by putting brown sugar. But guys, come on, don't be fooled. It's just as bad. Per serving size, according to their serving size, there's 13.5 grams of sugar. So in terms of teaspoons, that's 3.5 teaspoons per serving that you're giving to your kids of added sugar. Day 28, I'm feeling good. I've been doing a lot of thinking about how we define ourselves and define how we eat, how we kind of put ourselves in boxes by giving ourselves a label. So for instance, you might define yourself as a vegetarian or a vegan or a carnivore or whatever it may be. Certainly, most of my life I have been vegetarian, vegan, even raw vegan. And putting those labels on myself, I realized that I'm actually limiting myself because, as say new research comes out and it's not within my little box, say my little vegan box, then I'm just going to discard it, right? I'm not even going to pay attention to it because it doesn't fit within my box, how I've defined myself. So I've decided that I'm going to get rid of all these labels because I do not want to limit myself. I want to be a learner. I want to have that mindset that I can look at anything that comes my way and see, well, does this serve me? If so, I'll incorporate it. Even if it goes against everything I thought was real and true, but that's okay. I'm learning. So that's where I want to go with this. So I'm on a quest ultimately to optimize my health, prevent aging, make sure my brain is super healthy in the long term. That's what I'm interested in. And if that goes outside a little box, so be it, So for instance, now I know that sugar isn't serving me, so I've gotten rid of it. Processed food isn't serving me and got rid of it. Gluten isn't serving me, get rid of it. What else? That's what I'm gonna have to experiment with, yeah? I mean, to give an example, when I grew up, we were brainwashed into believing that fat, particularly saturated fat, was so bad for us. And, you know, in the supermarkets, you had all these low-fat products everywhere. And that's what I would choose. But of course, when they brought down the fat, they had to still make it tasty, so they increased the sugar. And now research is telling us that that was possibly the worst thing that they could have done and that we could have eaten. And it turns out that fat is so essential for our well-being, including saturated fat, you know, which was demonized. So my point is also, over the last decades, the amount of research that has been done, and consequently how much more we know now and understand about what is good for us and what isn't good for us. And by no means is it complete. You know, there's so much still to learn because our bodies are so complicated. But the importance of not getting stuck into this is the way it is, this is how I eat, you know, because as new research is coming out and as we learn more, we got to adapt to that and incorporate that, you know. So that is my quest, to be that learner. And at the moment, I'm feeling so passionate about this topic. I really love finding out more, and I'm researching and reading amazing books like this one, just about how I can improve myself and my health and my well-being and energy and everything with the latest cutting edge research. And it's super exciting. So, I did it! I made it to the end! Oh yeah, it feels so good. It really feels so good. Like a real achievement. And I'm very proud of myself because it was not easy. It was quite tough. So I think if I'd just done the sugar, then it would have been a bit easier. I think I would have managed that quite easily. But the fact that I got so inspired and decided to cut out all the processed foods and then decided to cut out all the gluten, that made it a lot harder. But I'm so happy I did that because I feel amazing. I feel the change. The first weeks were definitely the hardest because I know I was going through withdrawal. I had cravings, I was irritable, I had very poor impulse control, you know, not control over my emotions, you know. So the first 2 weeks were really, really tough. But since then, it's gotten a little bit easier, kind of every day. And now it's kind of just, well, this is the way I eat. It's just part of my life kind of thing. And that's phenomenal. So the biggest changes that I've noticed are, firstly, no cravings. And that is such freedom, such liberation, you know, if you will, because now I can go to a cafe, I can see all those beautiful cakes and croissants and whatever in their beautiful display, and it's fine. I'm not craving it. I can sit there eating whatever I'm eating and it's okay, and that is phenomenal. But I do worry that if I were to dig into one of those cakes or, you know, a beautiful piece of fresh bread or whatever it may be, that I will be right back there in the craving. So for me right now, it's easier just to say no. And because I feel so amazing, that's what I'm going to be doing. The second thing that I have noticed, which is by far the biggest impact for me, is the clarity of mind. And this has been fantastic. Now I have such focus, concentration. I feel so efficient. I honestly feel like my IQ has gone from there to there during this period. And I don't get any energy dips in the afternoon. So I'm feeling clear, focused throughout the day. I think that's amazing. And I could not have wished for anything more. And that's probably going to be the main reason why I stick to this going forward. I don't want to give this up. I feel I feel like I'm becoming superhuman, and that's incredible. Another change that I've noticed is to do with my digestion, which certainly has improved. I don't get bloated. I mean, my stomach is as flat in the evening as it is in the morning. There's no gas. I feel good. It feels settled. Bowel movements are great. And you know, before this, I was eating tons of vegetables. I was eating what I would call a very healthy diet kind of thing. But I think the change that I've seen in digestion is due to cutting out all the gluten. That's made a huge difference. And it feels really good. Another little minor thing I've noticed is, you know, part of my brushing my teeth routine, I always use a tongue cleaner, so I scrape my tongue, and there is less gunk on my tongue these days. I know it sounds disgusting, but truly. So, you know, obviously something's going on there. You know, there's not as much for my body to eliminate these days and get rid of. So that's positive. Another thing that I've mentioned in a previous clip, but I think it's quite profound, so I just want to reiterate it, and that is, this has given me more emotional strength. And it's a bit difficult to explain or pinpoint, but what I'm feeling is that I have more confidence. It's almost like I have more willpower, more energy to deal with difficult situations that I would normally avoid. And like I said, it's pretty profound, and I reckon it's the effect on my brain. Like, the brain is functioning better. There's more energy in all my mitochondria, you know, and I'm loving that, really loving that. So what I'm saying is that it is so important that we always read the labels of the products that we buy. And if sugar appears in the first 5 ingredients in that product, then just move on. Don't buy it. But we got to get a bit savvy here, because the food industry, they are certainly trying to trick us, and they try and hide sugar in the product by using it, or by using other names for it. So it has many different aliases, right? So sugar, I cut out sugar. That definitely is not coming back. I've become much more aware of where sugar is, and I'm going to avoid those foods for sure. So for instance, I'm not going to put sweet chili sauce on my food anymore, which I used to do and loved. Yeah, it's delicious. But no, we're not going there. In addition to that, I'm not going to do dried fruit anymore. That's fine. I'm not going to do commercial fruit juices. That's fine. They're gone. And then I'm not going to do any processed foods. So, you know, things like chips. A lot of the processed foods I was eating before were things like crackers, biscuits, and I wouldn't go there anyway now, because the majority of those foods are full of gluten. So that's a complete no-no. They're not coming back. Definitely not. The big question then is, well, you know, for this experiment, for this challenge, I cut out all sweeteners, all natural sweeteners. And that was because I really wanted to give my body a break from the sweet taste, because I was scared that if I keep that sweet taste going, then I will continue to crave it. So that was the idea. And certainly I'm not going to use sweeteners, and I'm talking about natural sweeteners here. So things like stevia, xylitol. I'm not going to start using them in things like my tea and coffee, because then it just becomes habit, you know. But I think where I'm going to relax a little bit is for special occasions where I want to have a bit of a dessert. Then I am going to make healthy desserts and add natural good sweeteners to those desserts. So for instance, what I love, absolutely delicious, is you put avocado in a blender, you add some xylitol in there, and then you put some cacao powder, raw if possible, which is a superfood, and you have the most delicious chocolate pudding, which is really healthy. So why wouldn't I allow myself that? You know, there has to be some treats, and I do like my desserts. So that's what I'm going to do. But that's not a daily thing. So anything, if I see that it's creeping into a daily thing, then I'm going to eliminate it, because I don't want to get back to that habit, right? That I don't want any kind of addiction tendencies. But if it's for a treat, no problem. I'm going to include natural, good quality sweeteners that doesn't, harm my blood sugar or anything like that, or influence my brain negatively. That I cut out for this challenge was alcohol, because I see it as liquid sugar, And that one, I must be honest with you, I haven't quite decided the way forward. I'm not a big drinker, but I think possibly I will have a glass of wine every now and then. But that one's kind of up in the air, undecided on that one. But I feel that it is relatively minor for me personally. Of course, we're all different in how we relate to alcohol, but for me personally, it's not the big issue. The big issue for me was the addiction to sugar, and in particular gluten, and especially when they were combined. And I am so incredibly grateful that I have come off them. Such freedom. Yeah. So guys, I highly recommend doing this challenge. It's gonna be tough. And even when you go into it, even if you say to yourself, well, after it, I'm gonna continue eating sugar, I'm gonna continue eating gluten, that's fine. But do the challenge. It's just 30 days. But I promise you, when you have completed those 30 days and you see the change in your body and you feel the change in your mind, well, you might change your mind. You might continue with it. But go into it thinking, well, it is 30 days and you take one day at a time. If you just get through this one day, you've done good, and then the next day you do the same until you get through the 30 days. So I want to read you here a list of some of the other names that the food industry uses for sugar so they don't catch you out. Okay, so here we go. Agave nectar, beet sugar, barley malt, brown rice syrup, brown sugar, cane sugar, caramel, carob syrup, coconut palm sugar, corn sweetener, corn syrup solids, date sugar, dehydrated cane juice. I mean, that sounds healthy, right? Dextrin, dextrose, dried oat syrup. That also sounds quite healthy. Evaporated cane juice crystals. Hang on, there is more. Fruit juice concentrate. That's my favorite. Don't go for that one. Glucose, golden syrup, gum syrup, high fructose corn syrup. We know how bad that is. Honey, inverted sugar, malt syrup, maltodextrin, maltose, maple syrup, molasses, muscovado, palm sugar, simple syrup, sorghum syrup, sucrose, treacle, turbinado. I don't even know what that is, but it's obviously sugar. So, with love, I challenge you. Try something new. Open yourself up to the possibility that this might change your life, that this might be transformative. Who knows? Experience, decide for yourself. All these things, the sugar, the gluten, the processed food, we know they are so terrible for us. Yet, we eat them every single day, day after day. Why do we do this to ourselves? And the worst part, I think, is that we think it's the most normal thing ever because everyone else eats like that, But it's not. And if we eat these foods, we cannot perform at our optimal level. And I've felt this now. I've felt the change. And I would love for you to experience that too. So take the challenge. I wish you all the best. Let me know how it goes. I'm so excited for you. You have so much more power than you realize. You got this. I'm rooting for you.